welcome back. Glad you made it. It's a social production. That's right. We're doing it on Friday, July the 17th, 2026. Thank you for joining me once again, whether you're tuning in from Canada, the United States of America, is further down south, Mexico's over there in South America, over there in Europe, Africa, Asia, Antarctica, Papua New Guinea, New Zealand, Australia's, of course, on the islands, man, on a boat. Over there, hanging on, you're tripping on Mars, or you're orbiting the moon, wherever you are, in a cave, in a dwelling on the high grass, on the highlands of Scotland. To my Scottish people, all around the world, in the depths of the ocean, of course, underground, beneath the pyramids of Giza, wherever you are, on the beach. Digging the sand with your bare hands, digging the sand on the beach with your bare ass, digging the sand on the beach with not your ass but your clitoris. Shout out to you. Hello and welcome back. Thank you for joining me once again. Let's get a sip of this. Lots to discuss, of course. Lots of fun to have with one another. Sip to the gang. Let's just dive right into it, because today we have the many exciting things to talk about, and with dire consequences, or just like reg consequences. That's fine too, but it doesn't matter. Let's begin. Once again, shout out to you, Lindsey Graham and Mitch McConnell. These are senators, all right, senators that have caught my attention. One of them's dead. Lindsey Graham is dead. Rest in peace. I'll say what I like about the senators, and what I'd like to see perhaps change a little bit. Lindsey Graham is dead. There have been rumors, and there have been conspiracies as to why he's dead. I think he's dead because he's old. That's my take on it. I've heard some of the conspiracies. I don't think I heard somebody say on the lines that it's maybe the IRGC was behind his death. The IRGC can't even fucking distinguish between their left and right nuts. So that's that. I think it's just old age. What I did like I don't like the fact that people die, of course, whether it's natural or unnatural causes, but I did like the fact that we did replace him immediately, I think, with his sister. I'm not sure what her name is. I forget, it doesn't matter. But the point is, it makes sense, because who would know Lindsey Graham better than his sister? Is he married? Maybe his wife would know him better, but it doesn't matter. Apparently, we can just put her sister in. I think she's gonna have to shave her head, or not shave her head entirely, but like cut her hair, and she's gonna have to. We're gonna have to make them look the same, pretty much. She's gonna have to. Tape her tits. You gotta flatten out because she's a female. You gotta flatten out the chest. I don't think it's like a permanent replacement. I think it's temporary for the time being, if I'm not mistaken. Great siblings. They've gone through the thick and thin together. So yeah, tape down her tits. Put a suit on her. Who else are you going to put on that knows his mannerisms and his way of speech? No one better than his sister. I said put the sister in. I like this because it's swift. Apparently it takes a long time. There's a process to everything. Some things take a long time. Replacing a senator is not just as easy. Like, okay, this one's sick, or he can't come in, or he's dead, or he's pregnant, or he's having an aneurysm, or he used his penis pump way too much, and his penis is ruptured from the inside out, and it's like a blown out penis, which kind of resembles like a prolapsed anus, and so he's gonna have to go to the doctor. He can't come in. It's not a quick and easy process where you can just fill in another senator. This one I like, because at least you have somebody in there replacing him for the time being, doing the work that needs to be done. Unlike Mitch McConnell, who, again, I don't know any of these people, by the way. I don't know any of these people. Mitch McConnell, I do know this much. I do know that from the time that I laid eyes on him, this was some time ago, don't know what he's about, but I believe he's been transitioning for some time into a turtle. He's transitioning into a turtle. He's gone. He's missing, I think, for like a month. From June the 14th, he's been hospitalized, allegedly, because he wants to transition to a full-blown turtle. And people are like, "Oh, you got to get out here. You got to get out here, Mitch McConnell." So people are pressuring him, and I don't know how I feel about that. Leave the man be if he wants to transition into a full-blown turtle. Apparently he had to show proof of life, taking a picture with his wife and a newspaper. And again, conspiracy surrounding his health as well. We were like, is he dead? Is he dead? What happened? Did the transition go wrong? Is he now half turtle, half man? Show us what you're doing in the underground labs. you know, crazy scientists. People are saying that. I don't believe any of it, of course. I do believe he's on a natural transition to becoming a full-blown turtle. That's aside the point. The proof of life photo, I don't know how I feel about it, because he was holding a newspaper, if I'm not mistaken. He's with his wife. And again, he takes the photo. If you need to take a photo with a newspaper to show proof of life, that's where things get a little bit of sus. I'm not saying he's dead, but also I'm not fully buying the whole wife and, you know, the wife-husband relation. Is she really a wife? Because that's normally people who do take photos to, you know, have proof of life. It's mostly like hostage takers and the hostages. So perhaps there's something going on over there. I'm not quite sure what, but I don't like the fact that it's dragging on way too long. We need to be pumping up these old, beautiful lizards with whatever sort of serum, whatever sort of nectar that we've concocted deep down inside of a dark lab somewhere, you know, gain of function, whatever we're doing, I don't care, all right? Adrenochrome, pump them up with that. We need these guys to be in office till they are at least 200,000 years old, all right? I don't care how old they are. We got to squeeze as much life out of them, because again, the process of replacing senators is not as easy as just, you know, removing the tip of your cock. It's not as easy as that. You know, removal of the tip of the old cock, it's easy. You just unscrew the mushroom cap and it comes off super fast, unlike replacing a senator. Other things I like to say about the Senate, I'm a big fan of the Senate. Of course, the Democratic Socialists don't like the Senate. They want to get rid of the Senate because they're anti-togas. And I say we bring back the togas. Senators, male or female, should all be wearing togas. That's where it started from, right? Greco-Roman times, where they wore the togas, where men would come in, and then women were, I don't think they had women senators back then, but nonetheless, now we do. And if we wear togas and make the ladies wear the togas, you have at least one loose tit, because it's like, it's just one part of the robe, toga, is coming over one shoulder, so the other tit would be loose, hanging out. I'd like to see that in the Senate, just one tit. I'm not asking for anything like crazy out of, you know, I'm not asking for like 2 tits. I'm asking like, you know, ease into it. And if you're comfortable, 5 to 10 years, we can revisit this topic and be like, you know what, we can just show both tits. But that's my 2 cents on the matter. I hope everybody's doing well. Thank you for joining me, of course. Ladies and gentlemen. And again, these are all, it's things with dire consequences. Yeah. Don't mind these commies trying to come in and get rid of the Senate. No big deal. No big deal, you say now. No big deal until you're lining up in a line of lines for the bread line. Welcome back. Hello. Speaking of bread lines and where it all originated from, I believe this is in Russia, if I'm not mistaken. 2 is the number that I saw. It could have been more, but this is. Russia's not doing well. The Russian army is not doing well, from what I see. I'm not saying Ukraine is doing well either. I mean, both have. It's just been way too long. The soldiers are tired. They are losing their minds. You can tell that the 2 of them were just on video, playing around with a machine gun that's a DIY machine gun. These guys took a Soviet-era machine gun, did some DIY, but like Russian style, which means they did it all whilst crouching down and smoking cigs. You know what I'm talking about. And drinking some vodka and rubbing caviar on their gums, because that's what Russians do, while sporting Adidas tracksuits, of course. Nonetheless, the point is, they can be seen in the video, just having they're no longer interested in, like, you know, doing the work. They're no longer interested in, you can see it's a DIY project. It was a machine gun that was meant to be used on a helicopter, if I'm not mistaken. They took, and again, it's from the Soviet era, which means what? If you have to reach far into the Soviet era and grab equipment from back then and bring it and do some DIY, tells me that they're not doing well. Things get messy. The machine gun, you know, starts fucking backfiring or front firing, but it's a mess. It starts spinning and it flung one of the soldiers in the air and almost shot another one and killed him. This is not a good sign again, but perhaps it is a good sign. Perhaps the bright side could mean that, hey, maybe both sides are just, maybe we should, you know, consider other options other than, you know, going back and, you know, bringing old equipment in and just, you know, playing some Russian roulette. That's what they're trying to, you know, they're trying to, like, you know, paint it as that, oh, these are just some silly, you know, soldiers playing Russian roulette. Nothing to be concerned about. They're doing great. They're doing fantastic. It's just old school Russian roulette. You wouldn't get it because you never played Russian roulette. That's how they're trying to sell it. But I can tell that they're fatigued after like how long has it been? 4 or 5 years now. They're fatigued. They're tired. They're making a mockery out of wars, and wars are meant to be like, swift, decisive, with a message. I think this one's again dragged on way too long, and the machine gun just spinning speaks for itself. What is a spinning machine gun symbolically? No aim, no direction, just a fucking just all over the place, and it could get messy. They got lucky, or perhaps they've been practicing and they meant to do it. Perhaps it's some sort of training that they do in Russia. I'll swing the old machine gun, you duck, see how fast you can react. If you die, you're not meant for this life. Maybe that's what it means. Who knows? But overall, I think again, things to just keep track of. Not saying that they're not saying that they're not of course 2, 3 again. The world is what bipolar. Three poles, maybe Russia, China, and the United States, of beautiful United States of America, of course. Big dogs. That's where it's at. Number one. And then there's like 2 other ones that try to follow and do stuff. So keep an eye out on that one. And if you're in Russia or Ukraine, fucking don't do lessons. Moral of the story, what am I even trying to get to? I don't even know this. Moral of the story, do not DIY your own machine guns. That's the moral of the story. Or do DIY machine guns. We do get better improvements on some people should tinker. I'm a big fan of tinkering, but this one also almost killed 2 people. So lessons learned, DIY at your own risk. There you go. Now, they only present one side of the story when you look at, the news or whatever is out there. You hear people, they only present one side. They say retards have been shot and maimed by ICE agents. And that's the representation that you get. That's the one perspective that they show you. They're like retards. Some retard got shot by ICE in Maine. I think another retard got shot by ICE in Texas, if I'm not mistaken. I may be mistaken. Things happen quick. Who has time when you're doing it all by yourself? The point is, that retards got shot by ICE. It's 2026 now. You're all familiar with ICE. You know what it is. It's a branch of law enforcement. You know what it is. So this is what they present. Retards get shot by ICE. What they don't present is that millions, literally millions of people didn't get shot by ICE. How could you? You're asking yourself, how do I avoid getting shot by ICE? Because there have been instances, all right? No government body is perfect. They're there to do their work essentially, and that's to serve the public. Is it perfect? Is it 100% error free? Is it flawless? No. But there are things you could definitely do, and I'll give you a prime example out of my own realistic life that happens on a daily, because that's what it is. It's fucking reals out here. Just yesterday, your boy was out on the streets, driving around downtown. Get to an area, because in the GTA there's a lot of construction sometimes due to different reasons. Construction. There is times where we have events all around the city, and there might be like lane closures, and they put safety cones and pylons in the street to direct or divide a line or give you a different route. I get to a point, an area in downtown where they were doing something of that nature. I'm not even sure. It was a combination of both. I think there was an event and a little bit of construction, lane restrictions. So what I got a little confused. So I put my flasher on. I was about to make a turn, but I didn't because it didn't seem right. So I stopped and I saw a cop straight ahead. I'm like, great, there's a cop right in front of me. What a beautiful, and it wasn't busy around me either. It was just me and maybe like pedestrians on the sidewalk doing their thing. Not much traffic. So I'm like, I see this cop and I'm like, oh great, maybe I'll start, doing sign language through the windshield and ask him, can I turn this way or that way? Which way? I wasn't sure. I fully stopped with my signal on. Wasn't sure if I'm allowed to make the turn, but I start doing, fucking gang signs through the windshield. I'm like, can I? And he couldn't, and he was doing gang signs, but we couldn't communicate. Then I see another cop coming from the back, and I'm like, great, let me roll out my window because there's a beautiful cop coming in close to my window. I can ask him, can I go left or right? Which, I just want to make sure I don't go in the wrong direction. If it's, whether it's an event or construction, I just want to make sure. And I had fully stopped the car. So I lower my window. I'm like, fuck, yes. I'm gonna have a beautiful interaction with the cop, ask him which way I can go. And as soon as I lowered my window, he starts yelling in my face, yelling, what makes you think you're so special? Don't you see there's a cop car here? go that way, go that way. So he starts yelling, and I couldn't even get a word, and it turned into one of those. It reminded me of the Austin Powers scene where Dr. Evil is just telling his son to zip it, zip it. Daddy, wanna zip it right there. I couldn't get anything out. So he just yelled at me, and I just showed him a thumbs up and just, went into the other direction. And that was the takeaway is that it's a difficult job. See what I did over there? Who's alive doing a podcast today? Your boy. Who's alive out there fucking, running businesses out there? Millions of people are alive because they don't fucking get in a cop's, grill. And that's just one instance. And and what have I done since day one? I come here, I champion the cops, the emergency service workers, firefighters, veterans, the army men and women, because if it's not for them, we can't do what it is that we do. And it's the teamwork that makes the dream work, something along those lines. But I took it. I'm like, you know what? This is no big deal. No big deal, because this guy has an intense job. He's probably had, who knows, 50-year-old man, probably divorced, probably 4 to 5 kids. Who knows? Stayed up probably like 72 hours. He sees me and he's like, oh, look at this. What do you think? You're so special. Look at sorry. And I just, fucking went the opposite direction. What did I do? I stayed calm. And internally I was like, oh God, I was yelling. I was looking for a good interaction. I was looking for, a high five, or like, how you doing, officer? Or like, what's good? Do you need I was, in that mindset. He wasn't. But that's the thing you need to keep in mind. These guys have stressful jobs. So whether it's a police officer or an ICE officer pulling you over, asking you to just stop for a second or go in a different direction, or just be like, ask for a license or registration or whatever. Cooperation tends to save lives. What doesn't say, apparently, and again, I might be reading this wrong, but apparently if a law enforcement officer pulls you over and if you start driving around, apparently it's a higher, again, I'm not an expert on it, but apparently it's a higher statistics that you might get shot at. And retards have been getting shot. So you're like, how do I avoid it? I don't know what the other millions and millions of other people are doing, which means that they're not getting, whatever it is that they're doing, they're not getting shot. There's some retards that are getting shot. Again, move accordingly and use your own discretion. If you think, no, speeding up is the right, or going around in circles with a cop hanging onto the side of my car, that's the bright idea. That's what I should. If it feels right inside, then do it. Can it go sideways? Who knows? Who really knows? Who can tell after all these years? After all these years, dealing with police, law enforcement, and knowing the stresses of the job, you don't know. Sure, they could have had an easy day. It could have just been a day of handing out parking tickets or, saving a cat from a tree. Or it could have been, 75 to 68 hours or 95 hours of just back-to-back responses to domestic abuse calls in sketchy neighborhoods, busting in doors to, catch drug dealers, busting in doors to catch drug dealers who are also engaging in human trafficking, busting in doors to catch drug dealers who are also human trafficking, who are also... What other crimes are there that is, fucking doing, throwing dice maybe, and that too, all that for like 95 hours straight, and you happen to have an interaction with them, and they're fucking on 11 already, and you were looking for like a good, positive interaction. Point being, to have a little bit of, just fucking circle around. I don't know what to tell you. Circle around with the cop hanging onto your car, and good things will probably happen to you. Ladies and gentlemen, let's get a sip of this for a second, if I may. If I may still shout out to the cops and the veterans and the 911s and the emergency response units and the army men's and women's and the SWAT teams and the Air Force and I think we covered them all basically. Everybody out there with a badge and a gun, and ambulances and firefighters. They don't have guns, but do they have badges? I'm not sure. It doesn't matter. You know what I'm talking about. Emergency response units. Shout out. Still gonna hold it down and support you, because I know, so you don't need to tell me. I know it's a stressful jobs. And because it's so stressful, you have to sometimes, you have to fucking make different branches. You have to, spread out the work, because there's different types of crimes. And one of the most stressful and one of the most dangerous sort of crimes and units of crime out there. That's why here in Toronto we did something different, as a matter of fact, because I've named so many different types of crimes, but I've left one important aspect of it out. Like which aspect of crime have you left out? Well, we went ahead in Toronto, as a matter of fact, and created a whole new branch. It's called the tranny crimeunit. That's right. the tranny crime unit in Toronto. I'm not sure if any other cities around the world have done this, but we've done it. We've actually allocated a few special cars. We've painted the cop cars with the gay flag so that the trannies out there know who to call. And this is not for, if you are, I swear to God, if you are straight and if you're just like, you know, if you're cis and you call our tranny crime unit for your cis fucking crime related issues, we will not respond, or we might respond, dog, but once we get there and if there's no anal or vag to vag penetration and we find shit out later that this is just some sort of cis event taking place, there will be consequences, all right? Because this unit is designed specifically for trannies out there. And as a matter of fact, we had somebody out there the other day, a tranny cop, and he wasn't tranny, the cop wasn't tranny. He might be tranny curious, I'll say that. If he's working in that unit, he might be tranny curious, and that's fine. He's in this tranny car, which is painted again with the tranny flag. He gets a call, there's a tranny in distress, he goes there, he assists the victim that happens to be tranny, gives the tranny a ride, and because again, they can't just be in regular cop cars because they're not regular people. That's the whole point. No way, we're supposed to make everyone feel normal and regular, because everyone is normal and regular, but these guys are not normal and regular. Because if they were, they'd just get in a cop car. They just said, we had to create a whole new unit. You must understand, please. This is not regular everyday cis crime activities or crime related events. These are tranny. You never know. You think it's easy showing up with a tranny missing his cock and you trying to find it and there's like 5 other trannies. You're like, who's got his cock? And no one's talking. The amount of pressures, the time is of the essence. There's only a certain amount of time you have before you can actually reattach his cock or remove it before it's fused to his body forever and he can no longer transition. Do you want that? Do you want that? You sturdy son of a whore. You want that, wouldn't you? You want his fucking penis to fuse to his body for life so he can't trans. You sick whore. Well, that's why we went ahead and took precautionary measures. So now if you're a tranny in Toronto, please call out to our tranny crime unit and we will respond accordingly. I swear to God, I'll say it again. If you are cis and you call our tranny crime units for your cis crimes, there will be consequences. We will turn you out. We will fucking turn you in and then we'll turn you out. And I'll leave that open-ended. I'll leave that to your imagination. We will turn you in and then we'll fucking turn you out, son. The point is, ladies and gentlemen, that the beautiful bitches, let us, if we can, skirt for a minute, take a little detour to something a little bit more pure, a little bit more beautiful, a little bit of that sunshine and butterfly in this world. And that is something that the world needs more of. I'm talking about 2 bitches in Poland, 2 beautiful drunk bitches in Poland versus 1 historic fountain with a statue of a man, a historic man holding a historic sword in a historic part of the town in Poland. 2 drunk bitches, beautiful bitches, were drunk and they assisted each other in climbing in to the fountain, climbing on top of the statue and grabbing the sword of this historical figure and basically taking it down to have fun with it. Unfortunately, they were reprimanded by law enforcement shortly after, which sucks. I like to say that although I'm not for vandalisms, although I'm not for acts of damaging private or public property, I am, it's a priority thing, right? Everything comes in. I am a fan of drunk hot bitches, emphasis on hot, because I couldn't see closely, but they were slim, they were fit, they weren't fat pigs. I'll tell you that. From what I saw, no fat piglets in that video. They were hot, drunk, having a good time. They happened to steal a sword, which tells me a few things. One, we should appreciate fun, hot, drunk bitches in the public. When you see them, just fucking girls being girls, just having a good time. Support them. It's a finite resource. They will get older. They'll get older, and they're not going to be as fun. They'll get older, probably gain a few pounds, and won't be as eager to jump on and give you head as much as they would when they're in their prime. So these are the golden years. Cherish these beautiful bitches out there. Champion them. Let us support them and see how they thrive with a little bit of support, instead of saying no, you can't, no, you shouldn't climb into fountains and steal statues. swords. That's what is a statue going to do with a sword? I'll say that. I'll say it again. What is a statue that's fixated in one time and what's it going to do with that sword? Two bitches, drunk, they get a sword. What do they do with it? They might fucking take, the wicked selfies whilst being drunk, pretending to sword fight. What is that gonna do? Next thing you know, they might get inspired. Put the sword back and go buy a two-headed dildo and engage in another sword fight. They might scissor using a dildo later on, and you getting in there and say, no, put the sword back. They were gonna put it back. You don't know. You didn't even give them a chance, man. You didn't even give them a chance. Which, by the way, also segues into another somewhat related topic. When people do we've seen this thousands of times, people get pulled over for drinking and driving, and people, the cops are like, okay, you're gonna have to, I'm gonna tell you a few instructions, you're gonna have to follow it, put your one foot in front of the other, touch your heel to your toes, turn around, hopscotch, do the splits, a couple of push-ups, bend over backwards, bend over forwards, put your finger up your ass, put it in your eye, get pink eye, fix your pink eye, and repeat 3 times so that I know you're sober. That's and say the alphabet at the same time and count to 100 backwards in Chinese. We've seen people, we can look and see that these two drunk bitches, despite the fact that they were intoxicated, they managed to climb into a fountain, climb on top where the statue is holding the sword, move the sword out of the statue's hand, climb all the way down safely, and they were about to get away, but we hindered them. What does this say? It says that perhaps the tasks that the cops are asking people to do whilst drunk are just not engaging and fun. What if you ask people to do fun, engaging activities, like, in a chill environment? Because you're like, I can't, recite the alphabet backwards and count to 100 to 1 in a backward sequence in Chinese and put my finger up my ass and rub it in my eye at the same time. It's just too much stress. What if it's something that I enjoy? Like, come over here to this, fountain, let me climb this like a little chipmunk in under like 30 and see how will I do that. Because if you can do that, it tells me you can do a lot more. All I'm saying is perhaps it's time to revisit and consider some new tests for when people get pulled over whilst being under the influence. Introduce some new fun activities, a blow up, little, just like a little, do some pull-ups on this cool little maze. Do some pull-ups, some chin-ups, maybe some, throw a ball. Throw a ball. Can you throw a ball? What, because if you got a couple in you, throwing a ball, people might think it's easy, but it's not. But it's also like not as intense as, doing Chinese alphabets and fingering yourself. I'm just saying, switch it around, give people a chance, try some, because not everybody learns and, applies what they've learned the same way. All I'm saying is people are capable of different capabilities and they have different abilities with what I'm trying to tell you. Shout out to the hot bitches out there. Hashtag free my hot Polish bitches from prison if they're in prison. Free them now, please. I read an article and it said that if we give bees, apparently if we give the bees probiotics and prebiotics, they're better off in dealing with different climates and whatnot. I didn't like the part of the article that was, again, a lot of articles these days will have emphasis on climate and we're gonna have to, again, many fronts that we're gonna have to be aware of and be diligent and kind of like try to nip it in the bud, because it's of dire consequences, whether it's commies trying to take away the Senate or the people, trying to scare you about the weather, whatever it is, a lot of things. I didn't like that aspect of it. What I did kind of like wanted to consider with you guys and gals out there was, I'm like, okay, maybe prebiotics and probiotics can assist these bees, live in different climates a little bit better. And sure, we must do our best to, help the nature and the bees. The birds and the bees. We've all heard the birds and the bees story. We've all heard the bees and the birds and what that represents. Swinging culture, I think that's what it, I never fully got the birds and the bees myself. I think it's your parents or your guardians trying to introduce you into swinging. It's a lifestyle, if I'm not mistaken. It's a lifestyle. Some people say it's a choice. Some people say you're born with it. I say to each their own. The point is, ladies and gentlemen, that I don't know how I feel about it. Could giving probiotics and prebiotics to bees make them, survive a little bit longer in different climates, whether it's cooler or warmer? Maybe. I think we need to have more research. But the same rate, do I want my bees like getting a little, shakers, getting little shakers, and like getting a little, water bottles and like filling it up with like probiotics and then prebiotics? And because that just might be the gateway. Sure, they might like live a few days or weeks longer. But what if they start getting ideas? What if they're like, well, if probiotics and prebiotics works with the bees, why not give them a little bit of protein? Why not, and next thing you know, now we're gonna have to find out which, whey protein works best for the bees. Now they're taking protein, they're gaining muscle mass, and now they're, and they're like, yeah, we want to bulk, but we want to have a clean bulk. So now we're gonna have to start creating little gold gyms for the bees so that they can go exercise. Next thing you know, you're gonna have to craft little tiny bench press and squat racks. You know how hard it is to make miniaturized squat racks? It's not like the most difficult thing, but it's not easy either. It's not, how many would you need? We're gonna have to figure out how much they're gonna have to exercise, little tiny treadmills, because the bees apparently, need treadmills to, exercise and get healthier so that they can live longer, so that we're not impacted by the amount of honey they reproduce. I'm just saying, I don't know. Maybe, did we try giving a few of them a cigarette and maybe a couple of drinks as well, just to see if they chill and not die as quickly? Does that work? Because I'd rather see that, a couple of chill bees instead of a couple of jacked up, what are they doing? Just going to the gym on the beach and just pumping iron, and next thing you know, they're just, what kind of life is that? It's decent, it's fun, there's no harm in it. I'm just saying, like, do we have enough resources to do that for our peoples, for like human peoples? Whereas I don't see all the people getting prebiotics and probiotics. What are we gonna do? What are we gonna do next? Get the bees to do steroids so that they can grow muscle mass and girthier thighs? I don't know how I feel about that. Is it good? Is it good that they're, getting enlarged penises so that they can penetrate the female queen faster with more jizz, better jizz that produces in the long term better honey? Do we want all that? Do we? Or do we want like just gyms and like, exercise equipment for people first, and, better diets for people first? I say people first, but I'll leave it up to you. If you wanna see your bees, working out and competing in the Olympics, then fine. Start giving prebiotics and probiotics and see how it goes. I hope it goes well. Also, like there's the old saying, like if you can't take the heat in the kitchen, then get out of the kitchen. If there's a fire in your kitchen, you can't stand burning with your kitchen, then get out of the kitchen and just live with dignity outside without, don't be a man or a woman. Step out of the burning kitchen that you set on fire and just go outside like a puss and be a total bitch. Then that's the message that we're sending to these bees. Is like, don't take care of yourselves. We'll take care of you. Don't do anything, bees. We'll give you all the food. Just lay back. Let me pump you up with some pre and probiotics. You just lay back. Don't worry. Don't think about anything. Don't don't even flap your wings. Don't even build your hive or anything. Don't even have a hive mind, bees. We'll give the hive mind to you. Don't do anything. Don't do figure eights, bees. We'll just fly for you. How about that? Why don't you just sit on my shoulder and just drink some of my have pregnant women with their milky tits dispose their babies and just like lift the tit and then put their nipples in the mouth of the bees and then feed the bees their milk so that the bees can grow strong and produce really good honey. And then what happened to your baby? Your baby's dead because you decided to put the bees' health in front of people's health. That's what I got from it. What did you get from it? The point is, ladies and gentlemen, that we're here today. Dearly beloved, we're gathered here today once again. Prince Harry, if I'm not mistaken, this is, and I think he wanted to not be called Prince Harry, but that's what people call him still. I think because that's him and his wife, I think, divorced, or they wanted to go their separate way from the royal family. Nonetheless, he's under some sort of state of mind. I don't know. I don't want anybody not doing well out there. I want everybody to do well, but he's not doing well apparently. Because this is what I've heard. I'm not sure. These are all alleged, stories and rumor. He's caught up in a whole bunch of things. One, trying to stay away from the family, but like two, also like it's a you know, you kind of, it's a lie. It's hard to get away from it. It comes with its privileges, of course. So you don't want to like fully get away, but you know, want to go your own way. Your wife is a little bit of a, you know, she's kind of a downer. She gets, you know, she fucking, you know, comes in and just doesn't bring the best vibes to the party. Let's just say that. So your family's trying to deal with that, and there's a lot of pressure. Now you're like, what do I do as a prince that's, you know, been a prince for many years? What do I bring to the table as my, what can I offer society? You know, he's going through a bunch of stuff. I think there's like lawsuits and this and that, and he needs money essentially. He needs money. A lot of people need money, but he's a prince, but he needs money. And due to some, I don't know what happened. I don't know what went wrong, to be honest with you. I don't know what's going on inside his head, but he thinks that Elton John is an ATM, to the point where Elton John, I think he wants Elton John to pay for some of his lawyer's fees. I don't know what he's caught up in. I don't know what he's caught up in, to be honest with you. Some, you know, fighting tabloids and newspapers. I don't know the whole story, but this is what I do know. He's either him or maybe someone from his team has reached out to Elton John thinking that Elton John is an ATM. And this happened numerous times, I think, to the point where Elton John had to go, and I don't know if he had to put it out there himself or had his team put it out there, essentially saying that Elton John is not an ATM. But somehow, again, the prince is not doing well because he thinks that the human being, right? The human being that is Elton John, that's been a singer, songwriter, you know, musician for decades. He's a famous, globally beloved, known musician out there, all right? Prince Harry's not doing, he thinks that Elton John is an ATM, like a machine that dispenses money. He thinks a human who's a famous singer, he thinks that Elton John is an ATM. Allegedly, he's taken his bank card and tried to put it up Elton John's ass, mistaking it for where the card goes inside the ATMs. And Elton John's like, he's like, I'm not an ATM, man, but something is going, you know, I don't know what it is, but Prince Harry thinks that Elton John, he keeps pressing his nips mistakenly thinking that it's like buttons on an ATM. I don't even think that's the thing with these folks. Anybody who's just way, way too privileged, who's not gone out and actually touched physical ATMs, I could see it easily. You know, if you've always had somebody go to the ATM for you, there was just like piles of cash when you woke up. You ever, you know, I haven't experienced that, but there are people who do. You just wake up and you just like roll into like millions of dollars of cash. It could be easily, you know, it could be a situation where you could easily mistaken a human being for an ATM machine, because he's probably heard of these things. There's these things they told him, you know, before you go out there, Harry, you must know that if you need money, you need to go to ATM machines. And he's like, I got it, but in like a British accent. I got it, mate, I'll do it. I'll go get the ATMs and the cash out of the ATMs. I'll be fine. I don't need you. You need me. I don't need you. Good day. He said that to his family, and they're like, and he goes out there, finds one of the most, you know, well-known humans out there. He's out there. Elton John's out there. He's well-known, and he finds it. He's like, again, touching them all up, trying to, you know, insert his card into his mouth, inside under his eyelids, thinking that Elton John's an ATM. I would hope that his wife, maybe even his family, could, like, you know, if anybody has access to some sort of a desktop computer unit, just sit him down for a second, just maybe Google a few images of an ATM and Elton John, and just kind of help him distinguish that one is a machine. One is just like, it just holds money, it dispenses money. Put in your card, put in your access code, your PIN, and you ask for an amount. You can deposit money as well. Harry, you can deposit money. It's not just for ATMs, or not just for, you can actually deposit money as well. But he is, again, in a state of mind where he thinks that a human being is an ATM. He's not, Harry, he's not. He's an actual human being. He's a famous, globally beloved world singer, songwriter, entertainer, Harry. I hope he gets the message somehow. Ladies and gentlemen, this, you know, to each their own. It's different, you know, it's difficult. I guess you gotta put yourself in his shoes. It's difficult. Not having seen or touched an ATM all his life, you'd probably mistake some person for an ATM if you've never seen one either. Probably not, it's easy to just judge and be like, oh, how does he not know what an ATM is? But apparently he doesn't. Apparently he doesn't. Well, hopefully he'll get the message somehow. Maybe have Elton John, maybe take him to a place where there's Elton John and then an ATM and be like, point to Elton, be like, this is a human being made of flesh and bones and meat and dairy and water and proteins and cells. This is get him to touch, maybe if he physically touched Elton John and then right by Elton John, have an ATM, be like, buddy, that's the ATM, man. That's the ATM right there, Harry. That's the good mate, there, right there. Put the card right there, mate. Put in your, and he's still reaching for Elton John's nipples, thinking no, not that one. Not that, the one that looks like a machine, Harry. That one, mate. Put the card in the machine. I don't know how long it'll take, but hopefully he'll be all right. A Canadian woman has recently caught the attention of the world, or at least some parts of the world. And normally, typically, Canadians were known for our lovely nature, for not just like our nature, like our inner nature. Like we're beautiful people. Like most Canadians you meet are beautiful people, inside and outside, giving, receiving, taking, but mostly giving. Friendly. That's one of the friendly people up north. That's what they say globally speaking. When you say, that's a Canadian, right? People are like, oh, those people are fucking nice. And most Canadians we are. I'll say that generally speaking, we are. And that's one of the stereotypes. But we did have an incident where there was a woman who was a Canadian woman who I think traveled to the US and slapped a teenager, and because the teenager was, I'm not sure if it was a male teenager or a female teenager, I think it was a female teenager, it doesn't matter, slaps a teenager whilst visiting the US. I think her visa might have even been expired. She slaps this teenager wearing some gear or drip with Trumpezi's, it was maybe Trumpezi gear or maybe ice gear, or MAGA gear, I'm not even sure. It was, it was that kind of gear. This Canadian woman sees her in that gear, slaps her, which it does not bode well for the Canadian stereotypes that's out there, because again, for a long time Canadians fucking brave, when you need them they're there. World War I we were there, World War II also there. If there's another one, we'll be there. If there's another one after that, we'll be there too, and maybe if there's another one after that, we might need a few seconds for a breather, but we'll be there. And if there's another one after that, we might start asking questions like, why? I have so many, but if need be, we'll be there. That's the Canadian motto. If need be, we'll be there. What was I even trying to say? But this bitch comes in and slaps this teenager because I don't know why. I'm assuming she was jealous of her drip because there's this young teenage woman, female girl with cool drip. And again, just like any population, we have our crazies. You don't think we have our batshit crazy bitches out there? Men's too. I'm not just saying bitches just because you think it's female. Just overall, you don't think we have crazies out here? Just like any place in the world, we have crazies. She saw the drip. I'm gonna deduce she got jealous because she didn't have that drip. She's like, I want to take this bitch's drip because it says Trumpezi on her butt. Instead of like the place where it says juicy, it says Trumpezi or maybe ice or maybe MAGA. I don't know. And she's like, I don't like it that she has it and I want it, and she slaps her. And she got detained by ICE. And then a few days ago, I think her boyfriend's her boyfriend's a beauty as well. He's been online apparently posting prior videos of just putting out, just like wishing people got sick or ill or just the beauty. I saw a few seconds of it, beauty. Two of the, and that's the thing. Sometimes you do. This is a moment where I like to say, I hope that this is not this does not, change the mindset of the global populace and to make them think that Canadians are not nice or, loving people or generous or kind and empathetic and and all sorts of other wonderful attributes. Pretty much all of them, you can attribute those to Canadians most of the time. But again, we do have our crazies as well. On a positive note, I do kind of like it when stereotypes are, broken or a little bit at least challenged, in a sense it wasn't a positive way that the nice Canadian stereotype kind of got, shook or shake. It's people are like, oh, we thought Canadians were, well, I was hoping we would, because there's different stereotypes, I was hoping we might, break away from the nice Canadian to maybe go, it could be, because I never got a say in this. I don't think other Canadians got a say in this. I would have rather us get the, Canadians are now moving forward 2026 and on. They're going to be known for their huge cocks and extremely tight vaginas. That's when people hear Canadian, they're going to say, oh, those guys, huge cocks and tight vagina, the tightest vaginas out there. And we do have some of the hugest cocks and tightest vaginas, but people don't know that. I was hoping that this instance could be like, okay, still nice, but now they're going to be known for their tight vaginas and huge cocks. No, instead we got this, crazy bitch. And again, positives, it does break away from a little bit of the stereotype. The negatives is that we do, like, could we swap with other, if other groups of people want to, because I think the thing is, like, love my blacks too, but I think the blacks have got the big, they got the big cock, and they're not going to give it up. They're not going to give up that stereotype. But if they are, could we share it? Could we share with, maybe, I didn't get to say this. I don't think anybody else did either, but this is what happens. I think she's been detained by ICE. Do with her what you will. She is not, again, representative of all Canadians. Perhaps sometime behind bars or in front of bars would help her. Because again, it's not fair to slap a teenager. Like, slap somebody. The saying says in the old book, one of the old books said, if you're going to slap someone, thou shalt not slappeth your own ageth. That's what it says. If you're going to slap, basically, and just to reiterate, it says basically slap someone your own age, or at least your own height. I'm not sure if they were the same height, or at least, because it's got to be relatively, you can't just, it can't be like, I don't know how old the slapper bitch is, but older than a teenager. That's not right. It's not the Canadian way. If we're going to slap somebody, we'll slap somebody our own age, or at least height, because that's the way it's meant to go down. So there you have it. Not all stereotypes, hold true all the time, That's the thing. And you don't get to choose your stereotypes. And but if anybody's swapping, if the blacks are swapping, now I'm not going to say if anybody, because I don't want the Canadians to be like, oh, Canadians can't, I don't want the negative or not so desirable stereotypes, like, Asians can't drive. I don't want that one. And shout out to the Asians. Love my Asians. Great at many other things, but I don't want to be like, Canadians are now nice and can't, drive well either. And like, no, you keep that one, but we will take, if again, the big cock is on the table at any moment, if it opens up, we'll be there. Shout out to the United States and beautiful Canadians out there doing their best. Hello, ladies and gentlemen. What we're even talking about, that's right. Catch my breath for a second. Excuse me. I believe, ladies and gentlemen, if I'm not mistaken, we're here right now, and we're doing it on Friday. It's a beautiful day. Beautiful, beautiful day, ladies and gentlemen. Excuse me right there. I believe it's the old saying goes. The old saying goes, how do we test the how do we see if we can actually get more? I'll just say it. I don't know how the people are gonna respond, but there's apparently there's a bunch of people that want it out there. But you're like, what is it, Rob? Tell us. I'm glad you asked. People want pubic hair transplants, ladies and gentlemen. They want it. It's been taking the world by storm. It started off on the underground, of course. It started off very, just low-key, a few people doing it, getting pubic hair transplants. Did their lives drastically change for the better? Of course it did. Of course, people who've gotten these transplants are now safer as a result of it. Oftentimes, we have the stats. The data speaks for itself. 1,000 people a day die from injuries as a result of just objects being flung to their nether regions, their pubic area, and because they don't have as much pubic hair as they would like, they have suffered deathly injuries and fallen to their death at an early age because, again, they didn't have that cushion that they needed. That we found out the reason why we have pubic hair is for you to be able to take blows to the nether regions. That's why we have it. A lot of people are pubic hair deficient, of course, and as you age, the older you get, the less pubic hair you have, or you might be like, I think I have enough, but could I use some more? I'll say this: get attacked by somebody or an animal in the pubic region and see how it goes. If you fare well, then leave it be. But if you're like, man, that bear really came at my crotch the other day, and I just wish I had some more pubic hair, but I wish there was a way that I could get more pubic. Now there is. Rest easy, my fellow pubic hair deficient brethren and sistren. Now you can get pubic hair implanted in your pubic bone. So the next time that bear is attacking you and trying to just like stuff his nose and kind of hit you in your pubic bone area, where it's your most sensitive of areas, with the implant, you can have a full-blown bush, 3x the size of a regular bush, so that it'll actually, cushion the blow and make you survive probably up to 125 years old. That's right. I didn't want to say it, but this is what it does. It does extend your life to at least 125. The more pubic hairs that you have, the better and higher your survival rate. Apparently, it's been proven. We've tested this in different markets as well. People with giant bushes apparently have more offspring. What is the world facing right now? A population decline, they say. That's right. So go ahead. Increase your chances of having at least 6 offspring by getting a few extra strands of hair surgically implanted in your pubic bone area. And you're wondering, is this safe? Is this effective? What about, could there be any downsides? If you consider getting more puss or more cock as a downside, then yeah, there are downsides, because apparently the people who've gotten these pubic hair implants have been getting 20 times more puss and cock in their sexual lives as they would have, as they have. And if they didn't have the pubic hairs, the extra ones, they would have not gotten those extra puss and cock action. So there you go. The product is out there. I leave it, of course, to the consumers to choose these implants if they want to get them. But if you want to just be like, oh, I want to live in the past. I want to look back at a day where it was just like, a regular sized amount of pubic hair would suffice. Live in the past then. Live in the past. The future is thick, heavy, big, fake, but also real, fucking huge bushes down there. That's the future. But if you want to stay in the past, I personally don't care. I don't care. We did hear that apparently there is an exoplanet 49 light years away from planet Earth. LHS 1140b. This is how I know they don't want us to know as much as they know, and by whoever knows more than us. They don't. Why would you name a planet LHS 1140b? Do you not want people to remember what it's called? Because that's what happens when you call it a planet. Just call it have a name for it. Be like, anything. Pink planet, the red, go with a color. We've had the red planet, go with purple planet, cucumber green planet, whatever. Just LHS. I'm not even sure if I remember the first 3 letters correctly. LHS 1140b, 49 light years away. They said it has signs, showing signs, big signs. It's pointing to it. It's like a giant sign, and like, you know, there's lights around it, and it's blinking on and off. It's saying it's right here. There's life supporting water on this planet. I got excited because this is not the only one that we've recently found. There's other ones, which again, low-key, if the scientists at the tip of the spear of science, if they found a planet where there is life on it, or signs of life, or at least signs of life supporting, if there's water, it must be life, right? Would they actually tell us? Would they? Because it's 49 light years, that's what they're saying. And again, I don't know if I should get happy about this or just like low-key, you know, because 49 light years, I think that's too many light years. That's too, right? It's out of our solar system. It's an exoplanet. It's orbiting a star. It doesn't even might have a sun, but it's orbiting a star. I don't know if it has a sun or not, but it doesn't matter. The point is, it's showing signs. That's the good thing about it. Showing signs that it might have support, you know, supporting atmosphere, you know, one of those atmospheres that sees you going out there chasing your dreams and isn't on your ass the whole time. Like, you know, what about this? What about that? I get the atmosphere fucking gets it. It's a down atmosphere. It's down. It's a ride or die atmosphere. It's one of those atmospheres that's just not like fucking, you know, where were you last time? You know, one of those atmospheres that's like, oh, I smell perfume on your neck. One of those, it's a supportive atmosphere. It kind of low-key knows what you're up to, but at the same time doesn't mind the benefits that benefit the atmosphere as well, if you catch my drift. Sure, some of the activities might be, you know, in the gray area, but it doesn't matter. At the end of the day, who's living in a 3,500,000 square hectare acre vineyard? You know? So the atmosphere gets it. Low key, doesn't want to, you know, talk about it all the time, but gets it. It's that type of it's a support. It's not one of those unsupportive atmospheres that's always like, oh, we have a 3-car garage house, you know, did you hear so-and-so is a 4-car garage house? And it's not, you know, it's not supportive. It's not one of those, it's a supportive atmosphere is what I'm saying. But it's 49 light years, so it's too far, I think. Unless, again, first of all, how do we even see it? Is this like telescope shit? Or is this, I don't even know what it is. Apparently they look into the space, the scientists look out into the space and they're looking at things, little tiny dots, and if it's like emitting gases, they're like, that's a gas that might be emitting from a planet and it might have water. Do we not have better, you know, to make better telescopes? Because I think it's a lot to say, let's, you know, because what if we get excited? What if we make the equipment that'll get us there, and then we get there 49 light years away, get in a spaceship, go out there, and it just turns out to be just some gas, just some space gas, just space queefing, essentially, you know, grand mother nature, just fucking queefing out there in space, and you're like, we saw the gas, we thought it was water. What if it's not? Or what if it is? Better yet, what if it is? I don't know how I feel about it. There's part of me that's saying, yes, like we want life, but also, what if it's a better life? What if it's better water? What if it's like, you know, what if it's 24/7? You know, what if it's like, what if the atmosphere is really good so that you know, what if all their malls are outdoor malls, like the way they have it in like parts of the world where it's got good weather so that the malls can be outdoors? What if it's like that? And then we find out and we're like, fuck, here comes winter. I guess I gotta go to my like indoor mall. And then, you know, like 49 light years away, it's fucking sunshine all the time, and they're just like having a blast at the outdoor mall. And that's what they're doing. And now they're not willing to share. You're like, well, we got to take this now, because that's outdoor malls. You can't give that up. Or what if it's worse? And that's if we find out if they're better, we got to take it, and it's far away. It's hard to take. If we find out it's worse, what if all they've got is just shitty indoor malls? No outdoor malls anywhere. It's just like, it's a decent atmosphere, you can live, but all the malls under the roof of a, you know, heavy complex. And what if they find out we have outdoor malls and they're like, fucking these guys, we gotta get them. All in all, it's showing signs of life. That's exciting. And I believe we found other ones as well. Who knows what the future holds? But I can tell you this, friends, that it holds something. Ladies and gentlemen, if I'm not mistaken, I believe we are testing for low testosterone in the Army. Pete Hegseth, I believe, shout out, Secretary of War, Pete Hegseth said we are testing for the Army to see if the men's and the women's have low testosterone or high testosterone, because we want to find out if they're low in testosterone. I heard this. I just want to say my services are available, and I'm going to do this pro bono to make up for the dirty deeds of this dirty Canadian bitch and her boyfriend, who are not the types of Canadians that represent Canadians. I'm gonna go out there and say my services are being offered once again pro bono. Not many people know this about me, but I've actually spent a lot of time doing quality control in females' testosterone levels. I've trained myself through ruthless exercises, years and years dedicated to going down on different females. And my tongue has actually, my palate has actually, I've trained myself to detect testosterone levels in females. So what I'm willing to do without charging a penny to our beautiful Army, the United States Army of Americas / Canada, what I'm willing to offer free shit. I will let as many females above the age of 30, I think that's who we're testing. I'm talking 30-year-old females in the Army, 31-year-old females in the, I don't even care if you're 33, 35, I don't care. If you're even like in your mid 40s and what you need to do, I don't know how we're gonna coordinate this, like where it's gonna happen, but what I'm again, you just, I lay down and you just rub your clit all over my face for about 10 to 15 minutes. And I can detect the levels of T in women. I do have to apologize, of course, in advance. I have not trained myself to test T levels in males. That's not the way I swing. No, shout out to the ones that do swing that way. I've only focused, some people are like, oh, you should focus on, be a little bit more, diverse in your aspect of research and development. I say, I pick a lane and I've picked females. And I do apologize for that. And yeah, sometimes there's services that I can't provide. But at least, half the population, which is the female population, I'll gladly offer my service. And again, a lot of you are out there listening right now, hearing this. Maybe you're like, Rob, given the fact that you do so much, the amount that you give back, you're just one guy, man. There's God knows how many thousands of troop members there are that need to be tested. Could you handle it to that? I say yes. I don't want you to worry your pretty little head and worry about me being able to handle testing the T levels in the females. My tongue and I, my face and I have been preparing for this really our entire lives without even knowing we were preparing ourselves for this. But yes, am I willing to? Yeah. So what? I might get a little bit tired. Yeah, I'm not gonna be one of those guys that says I might get a little bit tired. Low key, if it's like if it's the day, it's probably gonna take like months. Probably gonna take months. It might be like halfway. It might be like a 6-month thing that we're gonna have to do for 6 months, and it might be like 3 months into it, I might be like at one point I might be like, hey, can a guy take like just like 5 minutes to catch his breath, and I'll come back. But like, I'm not gonna be like, oh, I'm never gonna, I'm human just like you guys out there. We're all human. So yeah, at one point you're like, but again, you do the podcast, philanthropy, business mogul, tycoon in so many fields. How do you have time, and how do you, it's again, just knowing that I can be of service, be part of a team. And that's what you can just ask for. That's the only thing I ask for. Just to make a little difference for my team, and if I could do anything to assist, then don't worry. I just don't worry about me is all I'm saying. Thank you for your concerns. Thank you. Like some of you are like, stop it, man. Don't do it. You have so many podcasts to do. You're not gonna have enough. I say, don't worry about it. I will make time. This is why I don't have a family right now, so that I have time to give more of myself to different causes. So yes, my offer stands firm. one thing I do want to say, I just, fuck the mongoose. I said it. Fuck the mongoose. You know what I mean? I love animals, big animal guy here, but literally fuck the mongoose, because I don't know how they did this, but getting to be just goose or geese just on Mondays, that's outright blasphemy. I say that's what that is, you know. How did the mongoose brainwash humanity and all the other animals into getting us to believe that they can only be geese or goose for just one day of the week, and that's Mondays? I refuse to support the mongoose. Don't care for them, to be honest with you. The regular geese out there are geese and gooses and geeses are geese and gooses 7 days a week, 24/7, 365. Day after day, night after night, evening after evening, morning after morning, afternoon by afternoon, hour by hour, minute to minute, second to second, day by day, week to week, month to month, year to year. I think we covered all of them, but you get the point. Every day there are geeses and gooses. Somehow, big mongoose came and I guess lobbied, and they get to just be gooses and geese on Mondays, just one day, while the rest of us are out there 7 days a week doing it. Whether you're a human, whether you're a goose, whether you're a moose, whether you're a little anteater, whether you're like a little snake or a snail, or like whether you're an anteater, or like whether you're a moose, or like a giraffe, every single day, you gotta go out there and be the thing that you are. But the mongoose, they're like, no, we only go out. That's that commie shit right there. That's that fucking commie shit that I'm talking about. We gotta be diligent about and careful about. What are they even doing the rest of what are they doing on Tuesdays, these so-called mongoose and mongoose? What are they doing on Tuesdays and Wednesdays? That's what I mean. What are you doing with all your time on what are you doing on the weekends? You sick fucks. End it with me, ladies and gentlemen. We get together, raise our voices, and say enough is enough. If they should just join the rest of the geese and gander and goose on every day, or just quit being a goose altogether. We don't want you for one day. That's what I say. We don't want you for one day, mongoose. Ridiculous, but I think they've been grandfathered in. I'm thinking they've been grandfathered in a long time ago, where they somehow fucking cooked the books and sold us on the idea that it's good for us to have them be geese and goose just on one day. I think we got the fucking short end of the stick on that one, and I'm sick and tired of it. So they got at least half a week at least for the so-called mongoose. Otherwise, fuck them all. Just burn them all down. Just burn them all down. Ladies and gentlemen, of course, we're here together, dearly beloved, once again. Now, what's extremely important that's not getting as much coverage as I think it should be, this is, whilst we're doing all this, whilst we're, trying to maintain positive stereotypes, trying to figure out, what did the bees need, what did the bees don't need, trying to figure out, what's going on with the conflict in the Middle East. Should be what's going on, what is the end game, what is the near to end game, what's going on, what else is going on simultaneously that's right under our noses, that's just probably it should be up there on the priority list. Silently, I think fucking sitting pretty. You know who's sitting pretty silently whilst all this is going, or maybe not so silently? China. And shout out to my Chinese, but the CCP and the government is just, I heard this, just like some of you may have heard this, but it's not getting any, I believe CNN's, MSNBC, ABC, A to Z, GBC, LCD, CC, all the letters, the traditional media outlets, the legacy media outlets, they're not covering this shit apparently. I believe Trumpese, shout out to Trumpese out there. He just fucking blew it open. He just blew it open. Apparently China has been stealing our voter registration data, and they've been meddling in our elections from at least 2020, probably, I'd say probably longer. Most countries probably meddle in each other's elections, but to go out there and steal our voter registration data, you have over 220 million people's voter registration data, you're sick. Yes, this disgusts me. They found everything. They found out everything. They stole where you live, where you go to work, what's your social security number, where you live, your social security number, your email address probably, your other email address, your phone number, your burner phone number, your backup burner phone number, your extra regular phone, your third burner phone number, that other email that you never actually get any emails in, but like you already have one just in case, you never know. You can always use an extra, that one, they know about that one too. Apparently they're stealing everything. Your eye color, they're stealing, they know how many wrinkles you've got on your asshole. They know what your starfish looks like. They even know how many pubic hairs you've got around your asshole. That's how much they know. To that I say we must stand up and say, enough is enough, China. One does not go around and just steal our election registration voter data. Because if you do that, then we're gonna have to step it up and then we need to reverse it. And by that I mean, we can't reverse it. We just need to fucking up. If you steal our data, we will steal yours. I want to know every Chinese voter registration info out there. I want to know the equivalent to the social security numbers of all Chinese citizens out there. I love you, the regular citizens, but still, your government is sus sometimes. Shout out. And the point is, I want it. I want to know how many chopsticks are in your drawer. I want to know how much you slurp. I want to know how often you're going down on your spouse. I want to know I want to know the truth in terms of actual numbers of Chinese citizens, because you've heard that they're like 1 billion and some change, but apparently, low-key, apparently it's not 1 billion and change. Apparently it might just allegedly be far lower than that, apparently. And if it's not, apparently because of the whole one-child policy, in a few decades, in about 4 to 5 to 6 to 7 decades, it's going to plummet severely, apparently, allegedly. So low-key, if you want to play the steal your data game, son, who's got your data there? What's that in my, what is that? That's your voter registration data right there, dude. That's what that is, I think. So we need to nip it in the bud. And together we must save, what's that act that we got to do? I don't understand why people are not on board 100%. I don't know why the Democrats don't like the United States as much as the rest of us do. I don't know. Why don't you want people to show ID when they vote? Why don't you, God damn it. Get people it's so easy. It's one of those little tiny things so that we can focus on bigger issues. For the love of God, man. Oh, ladies and gentlemen, I'm going to do my best. I'm going to go out there and prepare myself for the female portion of the army to come and rub their clit so I can test out their testosterone levels. In the meantime, stay vigilant out there. And they're fucking, yeah, that's the thing, man, because that's the thing. We are, we're doing a whole lot in and around the world, and fucking China's just sitting there, stealing our data, stealing our intellectual property, not using any of their army to do anything. They're just fucking, and we're out there. Just things to keep, track of. But overall, they can't fucks with us because we're numero uno, doggy. Fucking numero uno all the way to the fucking moon and back. I'll see you guys next week. Peace out. Get out of here.